Have you ever considered that maybe you never felt like you fit in here because you were actually meant to help people break out of here? Don't mistake your solitude for not getting along with others or not being meant for others. Your solitude was strategically placed to help break the confines of traditional systems. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Obsidian. I'm your local shadow work cryptid, and this is Black Dragon Alchemy. I created this corner cave on YouTube so that we can all dive into the unknown, dance in the void of our subconscious, and initiate the soul into alchemizing our own rebirth. I hope everybody's doing well today. I wanted to create another video piggybacking off of the last one that I created. If you haven't checked that one out, I would probably recommend that you do. It provides a little bit of a starting point and some background as to what we're actually talking about here. That one got pretty deep, and this one I feel like is probably also going to be for a very small portion of the collective as well. But I feel like this is a message that somebody really needs to know, or maybe there is just some confirmation and you can find some comfort in knowing that you are not lost. You are on the right path. And no, you shouldn't doubt yourself. You are not going crazy. However, I was getting a lot of imagery about Neo and the Matrix. So I feel like you may be embodying that Neo energy. You are waking up inside of the dream and you're realizing that the dream is also within a dream. Everything is an illusion and everything is false, and you don't quite know what to do with all of that. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that everything is false. Your feelings and your intuition and where it is guiding you is very much real and accurate and seems to be the only thing that feels real. But at the same time, we were also picking up on somebody that's realizing they have different layers to themselves, not just their intuition, not just their ego, but there is something deep that's going on here. And it has been triggered through very conscious healing and confrontation of trauma and confronting the self and confronting your ego and perhaps had an ego death. But realizing that you are not responsible for how everybody wakes up if they wake up. You do not have to be a martyr to other people's emotions or their comforts. You owe nobody anything. You owe nobody your time, your energy, your effort, unless you desire it to be so. But if you fall into this group that I'm talking to, it's also a very hard thing to accept because this person, this group I'm talking to, is naturally a very giving person. So giving and so generous with their time and energy that it ended up potentially being a downfall. Perhaps something ended up really hurting you. You got taken advantage of. But also, as I say, the gift is in the pain. Your power will come from that pain. So, despite how we view quote unquote unfortunate or bad situations, everything happens strategically. Even if it feels accidental, everything happens for a reason. Nothing is by chance, nothing is a coincidence. Most things in our life, our soul predetermined to happen. So, if that provides any kind of comfort, sometimes it did for me. I had a hard time. Why would I have chosen this to happen? But if you're open to hearing the answer, it will come to you. Now, you are probably at a point in your journey where you're understanding everything that happened and maybe why it happened, or at least seeing why your past self, this past version of you that lived out these traumas, that went through these betrayals and deceptions, why you may have carried these. What in it did it trigger in you that made you realize you needed to improve some things about yourself? Or maybe you had too much self-doubt you need to have more confidence in yourself. Or maybe realizing that in a room full of all of these people, you're wondering if you're faking it, maybe just like the rest of them, a stranger to your own successes. I think for some people, these kinds of crises, these crisis situations, these tower moments that happen in our life, it's to expose a system that no longer is working for you. It's to give you a higher perspective of the illusion of structure that we seem to have in this third dimensional reality. There is a certain spiritual wisdom that comes with that because you start to understand how much of it you yourself actually create, which sometimes can be unsettling because you start to understand that you may have kept yourself in certain situations for longer than you may have desired, but you learn the lesson eventually nonetheless, and you got yourself out of it. Now, if you look at that on a fractured scale, for the group I'm talking to, you were actually also placed at this point of time on this planet, wherever in the world you are, you were just as strategically placed there to help with the collective. So as you helped dig yourself out of those holes that you were in, those emotional and mental deep-seated holes, now that you are understanding and liberating yourself, you actually increase the vibration of the collective that you're around. So you may notice some discord in the environment, confusion, people not acting right, situations not really seeming right, a lot of just general confusion. And it's like a confusion of the sense of self. People don't seem to understand even what they want. They're just on autopilot, and you're realizing it, and maybe the environment might be realizing it. But you could also be understanding the influence that you have on this environment. And the group that I'm talking to very much has a very influential impact on their environment. And you may have not known it, but you may be understanding it now that you are actually very powerful. We all are. We're all very powerful. We all have psychic abilities. We all have the ability to make our life anything that we desire. It's not something that only certain people have and, quote, chosen ones come in with. I personally don't really subscribe to that whole chosen one theory. I think we're all chosen. We're just chosen for different things. This group that I'm talking to, you were chosen to help shake awake was what I was trying to say, but shake away anything that is no longer beneficial or serving the highest good, be it for yourself, or you probably unconsciously realize that or don't realize that you are having that same effect on the world around you. This is also why some of us are so spread out and we feel so alone and isolated from people like us, quote unquote, right? I wish I would find more people like me, but then you go on the internet and they're everywhere and you're like, of course you live on the other side of the world because you seem like me and I would like a friend that has my kind of thinking. Or maybe you are blessed to have that tribe within driving distance from you, people that can help you trigger change and help embrace your transformation. If you have that around you, you are very blessed because that is intensified when you have conscious energy radiating out like that. You are powerful all of yourself if you are isolated, and that's totally fine. And that also might be for a purpose as well. But I'm getting a lot of divine feminine energy happening here. We do have the Empress card. Now, when I say divine feminine energy, it's not gender identified. It's if you resonate with the feminine energy, with creativity, with creating life or abundance or any kind of nurturing and caring energy, that is divine feminine energy. It is not gender. I am not talking about gender. We're talking about energy here. That compassion and that nurturing that you're bringing from whatever transformation triggered by trauma that you're coming out of, that you are now integrating. I do have the Magician card here too. This is an integration. You are turning your visions into a desired reality. You are bringing this creative energy into this very structured system that cannot hold. Your frequency is a frequency that is destructive. I don't know any other word to use it. It is destructive to traditional, conventional systems, whatever that looks like, be it belief systems on religion or belief systems on how stability should look within the home, or belief systems about how you should live your life, what it means to be successful, what it means to be of high knowledge, or to go to college and achieve a high degree, but does that truly bring you happiness? Is that really what you want to create in life? And you bring this energy to the table of it makes people question things. Someone might think they have it all figured out until your energy enters the room and it makes them wonder. And it might not be in that moment, but it makes them wonder, is this really what I want? Is this going to give something back to me as I'm giving as much energy and time into it? Maybe even finances. If you're trying to go to school and it's for a high degree, it's an investment. And if that's what you want to do, then it's a investment worth making. If it's not going to set your soul on fire, so to speak, then you're questioning if this is even going to be worth it. That's the kind of energy that you bring. You bring nonconformity. You bring questioning traditional structures. You bring confrontation of dependence on these structures. You bring a energy of really looking at scarcity and negligence and things you were trying to control, and it's like this enticing to make the whole thing fall down. You bring all of the things that were not allowing someone or some group or a environment to grow. You bring all of these forces and energies up to the surface for confrontation. And if it passes the vibe check, then it passes. But if it doesn't, that's when things get a little bit shaky. But your whole purpose here was like this bringer of divine intervention. Like it's like you're a catalyst or a muse for some people of sorts of their own transformation or an environment. Whether you think that you belong in it or whether you're just passing through, this energy you're bringing to the environment of change, but good change, destined change. Now, as you do this, as you unconsciously, it seems, are creating this fluctuation in the field around you, this is going to get very quantum. So I hope you can bear with me here. This is probably going to get very quantum. As you change the energy in the field around you, the universe, God, source, consciousness, however you subscribe to higher frequencies, the creator, energy, that is going to give you things back as well. You are going to get offerings. You are going to be very driven to success. The more that you do the things that set your soul on fire, the more that you do put your frequency out there and allow the change to happen and allow you to not fit into certain environments. Also, you don't belong everywhere, and your energy isn't for everyone. This energy is not for everyone. It might affect everyone, and how they choose to allow that into their own consciousness and energy is entirely upon the recipient. It's entirely upon the environment. It is not your responsibility to make sure the idea sticks. All that you're meant to do is come in, grace the place with your energy, so to speak, and make your exit, however that looks. That's really all that you're responsible for. Whether somebody understands a concept or an idea isn't up to you. And as somebody that may have been someone who was more of that people pleaser energy in the past, and it was solely it was coming from a good place. I'm not saying that accusationally. I'm saying, of course, because you wanted harmony, you wanted to provide comfortable environments for people, but unfortunately, not everybody thinks that way. And there are people that take advantage of good people. And those good people get scorned. And you never want to come across a scorned person. But you've dealt with that. You are dealing with that. And understanding that you can't please everybody, it also comes with a territory that you can't make everybody understand what you're saying. You probably have been very misunderstood for most of your life. You may have resonated with the black sheep of your family energy. You may have a hard time fitting into finding a solid group of friends that you feel like you can be authentic around, which would explain the solitary energy that you probably would have found yourself in most of your life. Even when you're facing all of these dark times, you did so alone. You faced yourself alone. And in the end, sometimes that's better because you don't have the outside influence of something trying to create a certain outcome or trying to frame your outcome looking a certain way, right? Subscribing to a certain theory that's still hitting a glass ceiling. You let yourself go. Whatever you went through, as I said in my last reading, was an initiation of sorts for yourself. And not to burst the bubble, but this might be one of many initiations for you. If you are resonating with this energy, usually your initiations come more than once. This one was a big one, though. You realized a lot about yourself. But now, with that realization, you are also getting something back. It's like a reward for having the faith in yourself that you can pull through, for letting go of your insecurities, for letting go of being so guarded with your energy after realizing all of this and you felt so betrayed, right? And it's almost an energy of, well, fine, then I won't be there for anybody. And you rightfully go like ghost mode is what I'm getting. Like somebody who just went ghost mode, and you could have had people trying to check in and you didn't really want to talk. You wanted to be left alone. People may have wanted to go out. You didn't want to go out. You didn't want anything to do with people because you felt burned. You felt betrayed. And this may have been something that you realized happened in the past, but now that you're understanding it, you're getting mad at it, and that's okay. But you had the reflection period and you needed that. And now that you went through the integration process and kind of rebalanced out your frequency a little bit, whether you meant to or not, it happened. And because it happened, it reflects in your environment. And you probably don't understand it's reflecting in your environment, but you're about to, because there is something. There is something coming in for you. Let's see if I can't get a little more clarity on what Hanged Man, a new perspective, but you're also contemplating something. You've gotten comfortable being uncomfortable. You've found wisdom in the surrender, in the letting go. Two of Cups. Is this about to turn into a love reading? This can go both ways, actually. The decision to essentially sacrifice yourself. As I said in my last reading, this was like your resurrection of sorts. It was the death of the old you and the resurrection of you, but it's a new, higher version of you. This is what comes after. You, right now, here, this is what comes after. You got comfortable with the pain. You learned from it. You let a lot of things go. You sacrificed your old self. Now you are unifying two halves of yourself, potentially. You're unifying two halves of yourself perhaps the unconscious parts of yourself that you now have confronted, and it's integrating into your conscious self. You are integrating the lessons and the wisdom of everything that you have learned from these traumas, and you are creating something new with it. You are creating a new reality with it, one that you experience mutual respect that you give to others, one that you are essentially in 5D consciousness, unity consciousness, unified love. You are joining forces with people of like minds. You are collaborating with people that want to share the same ideas and put in the same energy, matched, equal, not uneven. What you give gets put in. What you receive, they get back. It's a very even exchange of energy. You work with each other. You learn from each other. This is you either finding a partner that is like this, whether you resonate with being a divine feminine or a masculine, it does not matter. The energy is just there. It is what it is. You could either be finding some sort of romantic partnership out of this that is a very resonant energy to yours, or you could be finding a group of people that share those same goals, that want to put in the same work that you're willing to put in. And this is coming from a place of unconditional love, unconditional compassion. It's you finding the strength and the courage within yourself to not only be you, but accept the fact that there are people that accept you for you because you may have not experienced that in the past. Now, you can either have a King of Cups coming in as a potential partner, Scorpio energy. You could have somebody coming in that's very deeply devoted to you and intuitive, very emotionally balanced, emotionally mature, very empathetic and compassionate, such as yourself. Or you could be a Scorpio. Also, Cancer, Pisces energy. You know, I do have a lot of water cards going on here, a lot of Cancer, Scorpio. This is huge for you, though. And you yourself are making a heavy influence, but you aligned with people or an environment that is of your same emotional bandwidth, that is powerful. That is very powerful. And this is going to take you into a whole new level of spirituality that you may have never experienced before. Just when you thought that you couldn't open your heart anymore, that you were done, that you were good alone, you are actually going to be gifted with either a partner or a group of people that you can partner with, even if it's just to create happiness. There isn't always a divine mission that you need to achieve. You never really always need to go somewhere or do something huge or, you know, create this movement. Sometimes your presence, oftentimes actually, just your presence and your energy existing in a place alone is enough to make the difference. That's it. We're all like lighthouses on this world right now. And every single time we have a lighthouse's light go on, we know and we connect, mostly subconsciously, but we do connect. We know that others are out there. You may be getting blessed with actually having one walk into your life or a group of them walk into your life. So I think I'm actually going to end the reading there. If any of this resonated with you, I would love to hear your story down in the comments. Please drop me a line. Let me know where you're at. Let me know if any of this resonated. Thoughts, feelings, everything is welcome. Otherwise, if this also resonated, hit the subscribe button. I would love to create a community here of people who are on this journey so that we can all interact. All are welcome. Let me know where you're at. Subscribe if it resonated. Otherwise, I hope everybody has a great rest of their week, and I will talk to you on the next reading.